Very warm welcome, everyone. We are at the Ask MNL City session, and the first part of the presentation is the land acknowledgement. Why do we take the time to do the territorial acknowledgement? It is a way of honoring the land on which our successes have been built and the indigenous people who have been living on and caring for this land for thousands of years. As well, it is a long-standing protocol among indigenous peoples that honors their spiritual connection to the land. So we acknowledge the land we are meeting on. It is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. I also would like to add that I am located in Waterloo, and this land is the traditional home of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the neutral people. And going forward, I would like to introduce the panelists today. Luisa Bayona, she is Colombian psychologist. She's a counselor at the Mennonite New Life Center. She is part of the community mental health programs offering individual and group counseling. She's also part of the Support Family Connections in partnership with the Catholic Children Aid Society. And she is working in our HOPES program, which means helping our newcomers prepare for employment success.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thanks for being here, Luisa. The second panelist of the day is Stephanie Rosenberg. She's currently a mental health counselor at MNL City and training at the Bridge to Registration and Employment in Mental Health program. That's our BREM program, one of the 4 bridging programs of the center. She is a mental health professional with 9 years of experience counseling adolescents undergoing emotional and behavior challenges in community and school environments. She has a background in psychology from Peru.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Victoria.
Thanks, Stephanie. And a few words about me. I am Victoria Manzar. I am your host today. I am also a newcomer to Canada. I arrived this year in June from Europe. I am also a mother of a 5-year-old boy, so I am also very interested in today's topic. I am working as an HR business partner and marketing coordinator at the Mennonite New Life Center, and I am also big part of the Recovery program. So there is gonna be an info session on the December 7th. If you are interested to get to know more about this program for specifically women, then please feel free to join. But I would like to go to the content of today's session first, so you know what kind of topics we are going to cover. We will be talking about the state of children's mental health today. What are emotions and feelings? What are the impacts of the pandemic on our children? How to recognize what type of support our children need? And we will be sharing experiences. You are also very welcome to share your experience and ask your questions. And at the end, we are going to offer support for the parents. So I would like to hand over to our panelists to start the session.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. So as Victoria introduced myself, I'm Luisa Bayona. I'm part of the Mennonite New Life Center. And to start, we found some information from the state of world children in 2021. I want to read a little bit that what is going to be in this session and how we can fit in of the feelings or the emotions that the child has before and even right now from the COVID stage. So after, before, and during COVID-19, some concerns come from the mental health and is fitting in all of generation of our children, young and home people. Uh, some caregivers or some parents are not familiar or are not manage the situation when they need to improve the education or some behaviors and through technology or different situations. Other thing is the data show that more than 30% of adolescents between 10 to 19 live with a diagnosis of mental disorder as defined by the World Health Organization. For the first time in the history, the state of world children examined mental health with a special focus on how risk and protective factors in the home, schools, and community shape mental health outcomes. So it's now we saw the people has child how they express that okay in the school is coming to asking me how I feel, if I feel better to coming back to the school, if I have something issue, how in my home is setting up this new environment after COVID and during COVID that we are living now. And it is calls for society to break the silence surrounding mental health by addressing stigma, promoting understanding, and taking seriously the experience of children and young people. So it's said, and we start to thinking that mental health is important for our child. It's not just how they going through their life just only with the education or if they are has good behaviors in the home. So what's more, what they keeping inside them and they can express directly and use other kind of behaviors to show us I need help.
Thank you, Luisa. Good afternoon, everyone. And yes, we would like to start to talk about what is an emotion and feelings. And first of all, it's important to notice that they're not good or bad emotions. For example, if you are walking on the street and a dog starts barking to you, you maybe feel scared, and that is okay. That emotion will prevent you for something to happen. So there are different types of emotions, and all are part of the human being. And all these emotions have a reason. So it's important not to put it into bad or good. And emotions are an automatic response to the situations that we experience in the daily life. And we can control them, but we can control the way we respond to them. So if I am, again, using this example, walking and I feel scared, this is something that I'm feeling, I can control because it's also a somatic response. But maybe I can start using some techniques to feel better or to relieve this emotion. It is important to validate our emotion and to normalize them, to open a space with our children to talk about our emotion, how they are feeling, if they're feeling happy, sad, angry. Sometimes maybe we can feel afraid to open a space when maybe our children can say something like, I'm not feeling well today, or maybe I'm scared, I'm angry, and that is okay. That it's okay. It's important to open a space, to validate, and to explore what is the reason of that emotion. What is the reason of that emotion? So on the next slide, Luisa, there is an interesting graphic that it could explain how it works.
Okay, so it's good to difference what is the emotion and what is the feeling. Emotion is a response. It's a quick response that is what Stephanie say. Okay, you get a good news, so you feel happy. That is an emotion. That is feel okay. Something that is give you a quick response for some situation. That for example, you child lost a test or child lost something. They feel sad. Okay, they feel okay. I'm sad and something happened. No, I don't know what it's gonna be. but the emotion is a quickly response of some stimulus that's gonna be how Stephanie said, no good or no bad. It's just a sensation, a response. But feeling is emotion plus thought. Okay, how I perceive this emotion. Okay, how I added some thought and for that response is gonna be like when you get it other kind of situation that you get it angry for something and you get it joy for something or you are sadness and you don't understand why because maybe the response that you did for your emotion for your feelings emotion is through to other kind of feeling. So understand what is the difference with the emotion and the feelings is get you comprehend okay how I can act for some primary behaviors. What the graphic is show you, stimulus could be internal, could be external, has primary emotion, that's no conscious change in the somatic state, and the feeling of the emotion can be cognitive, social, contextual, and environment assessment. Is like let's to see, for example, a child to lose the exam, wherever it is. He feels sad and he don't know how to manage the situation. And he's still sad. He come to the home and he's told you, okay, I am sad. But it's up to you if you improve him to see other thoughts or you start to talking in here, you are a bad or you don't good a good job or you lost your time in a computer or you don't know how you do your things. It's up to you how you improve your child to convert this emotion in a good feeling to improve himself.
Okay, so, and what is the impact of the pandemic in our children? So children already started school a few months ago, and we can see different reactions. I remember we had a panel like a month ago, and one of the other participants shared with us that in this panel that his son, he just started school, he was in a young age in kindergarten, and he didn't want anyone to be close to him. So he was afraid. So the reaction was to push every other kid who was close. So it's important to contextualize this kid reaction because it's like this kid has been like for a long time at home, and so many social protocols change that the kid reaction was, oh no, this is dangerous, nobody can be close to me. So it's important to explore that and to understand how COVID also impact in our kids' emotions and behaviors and reactions. And because they are kids, sometimes they don't know how to difference. No, it's okay. If a kid wants to play with you, it's okay to share. So this is something that they need to relearn, and it takes time. So we need to open a space for our children to talk about this and to teach and to explain them about these different situations. So COVID, of course, there is fear about COVID. Some children, for example, we can hear from our clients, and also in the last forum that we had, they were excited because they can see their friends in person again, excited of returning to in-class learning again. But also maybe other children felt anxiety about leaving the house, or maybe distrust of what may happen. Is my school going to close again? So there's so many things around. And of course, the adaptation to the new protocols and social norms that is not easy, especially in young kids' age, that they need to use the mask, or for example, in some schools, they can share the books. So that is very hard to understand for a young age child. So they need our support, and they need for us to open space and to explore and to be patient, because they are in this relearning process too.
So, okay, what we expect or what to expect, from the impact of the pandemic. All of situation or most common of the situation what we have tried now with our clients is that show them anxiety, them fear, they are saying they have concern, but in the same time are enthusiastic to improve and to know get and to get tools and manage the situation. Uh, has difficult for the separation, and so couples get it troubles because it's the readaptation of family dynamics. The other thing that is important to highlight in here is as a migrant that we are, is this other barrier or other limited to set up in our situation, like let's to see people to come during the pandemic was closing, the schools was closing, limits in the barriers on the language to can express what they feel, war, loss of jobs, difficult that come out, plus the situation that the child is expressing. So this kind of impact of the pandemic maybe is don't come alone. It's come with other issues, with other difficulties that the family is faced up to say, okay, what I can do, or I can manage all my situation. And sometimes the anxiety that we have as adults, we like the struggle for the people, like for the child, like, okay, for you it's important, maybe play outside, but for me it's important, get money to supply your needs. So we trust the people, we trust the important needs for everyone, thinking that the more important is what we have already, and put in the separate way that we can, how we can manage all of this.
So how to recognize what type of support your children need? Here, I think it's important to also differentiate, because what I'm feeling as a parent and what my child is feeling, because sometimes I'm feeling anxious, or maybe I'm feeling scared, and maybe that is something that I'm feeling and I'm putting on my child. So it's important also to take care of us as parents and to connect with ourselves and to understand what I am feeling. And regarding our child, there are changes that are expected according to the age of children. For example, if we have a teenager, they start maybe confronting us, or maybe less talkative and more in the rooms, listening to music. So these are changes that we can expect, and they're part of the development. Sometimes our children need space for listening and containment without judgment and pressure. So it's important to open a space at home where a child can be open with us, to say how she or he is feeling. And sometimes we just need to hear them and to hold them. It's very important to be involved in our children's life. What are their interests, their friends, ideas, school, because these can help us to understand how is your child developing in other environments too, not only at home, because it's very important to notice that many children and that's they interact in a different way outside home, at school, and there's a different how they interact outside, for example, at school and in the house. So be aware how our child is developing in different areas could give us a better understanding on how my child is doing. Try to recognize where the child's behavior is habitual or is changing to. And if you feel doubt, it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask, and it's better to ask always. You can ask your family doctor, you can call a school counselor, but it's okay to doubt and do not stay with a doubt. Seek for services that provide emotional support, and it's also important that there are many resources around, local resources around, such as support lines, crisis lines, and it's also important to be aware of those resources that the community provides.
Okay. The other thing that is important that Stephanie say, when you set up which is the cycle of vital that has your child in the moment, like okay, if it's until 2 years, how I manage the situation for him. If it's in between 2 years and 8 years, is other kind of situation. When it's 8 years or 13 years is other kind of situation. The behavior change, the behavior, even the biological change that they have that they show you, you could manage. You could say, okay, as not like a trouble marker that the school says, what's happened with my child. So how to recognize what type of support your child needs. Because sometimes, or in most Latin American people say, you don't need support for mental health because why? You are not crazy. You don't need that. So why you need to talk with someone? You need to be open. You need to follow the instruction what we have in home, and we don't have any problems because we divide the people thinking, you know. So how to recognize what the type of support your child needs? When it's recommended to consult with a mental health professional. I think it's no how we recommend or what is the time to recommend. If you think you need to support your child for her well-being, try as well, Stephanie say, as with these professional people. So if you serving them and you have like looking or he show you a drastic change in their mood or emotion, unusual irritability, excess stress or increasing aggressiveness, lack of interest of things previously liked or they like it, isolation from friends and family, increased need for physical contact or reaffirmation, lack of energy, difficulties in sleep, change in appetite. That's the last one is what the more common pandemic show off because if you remember, we don't have we all the time was in home, no more not too allowed to do activities outside, so energy was lack and people lost a lot of time in the devices in the technology. So rulers from sleep or to eat or something like this was changing. Lack of motivation of daily activities, difficulty to get a concentration, negative thoughts towards themselves, headache or the frequent pains involving in unusual activities. It's like when the people say, okay, I start my son or my daughter that they before pandemic wants to join in a soccer, and he told me I need to go to play some instruments, but now I don't know what's going on with him or with she or with them. I don't feel they feel comfortable with me. So both this in this environment was restructured the adapt or make an adaptation or how they change their lives to improve themselves, and we are not looking how they are changing. So that is not a rule that we are sharing with you guys, but it's an idea that you can say, okay, maybe I can like ask or because I feel something happened with my child, but I don't know how to manage that.
Yes, and well, here is some access support for parents, and to access counseling service, there is a number that you can reach for a mental health intake assessment, and the intake worker will access and make the referral to a counselor, and we offer counseling service in English, Arabic, Farsi, Spanish, and Turkish. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Luisa and Stephanie, for this very interesting and insightful presentation. There is a question. Okay. Children don't usually care about COVID-19 and distances from each other. What we can say to help them without give fear to them?
I think that more about the information is how we provide the information. For example, if we talk with our child and that information is, if I'm anxious or if I'm scared, my child will receive that information with that emotion, and he's going to feel anxious and scared too. So, but if I explain my child another state, in another emotional stage, my child not necessarily is going to be afraid. So maybe he's going to internalize the information in another way. So it's also important, not only the words that we use, but also how we deliver the information. That's very important, the emotional content that we put in that deliver. I don't know, Luisa, if you would like to add anything.
Yeah, but other important thing is to know maybe what is the age of the child. Like if it's really child, is younger or is teenager, because how to deliver the information is going to be different. If you have, for example, that say some examples that I like to share what experience what we have already. Like I have a client child that he has 8 years and he's afraid to go to the school, and he believe in 100% what he's sapping when he watching in TikTok, what he watching Instagram, and he don't allow other people, even parents, to talk with them about COVID, because he believe all of the situation. So depend of the situation, depend of the age of the child, young or teenager, we can manage the situation. If are, for example, a small one, you can play with him, or you can send some information that's gonna be true, because the people this age are believe all of time in Instagram or social media. So if you can find some information to share with him and to say, okay, let's to share this information. Let me show you other thing that you can protect yourself, or what you think about that. Because already you like don't know exactly if he's ignoring the situation or he's tired about the situation, but he was living, or she was living, or they were living. I'm not pretty sure the gender. But if it's like more younger, try to find the same way to what he think about the situation. If he feel fear, or he feel lost, or he feel really don't care about the situation. It's actually depend of the age, how you can manage the situation, or the difficult, or the delivery the information for each one.
Thank you, both of you, for the answer. Or maybe in the meantime, you could, Luisa or Stephanie, like say an example, what kind of questions you usually get from parents when you are talking about this topic. What is a frequently asked question?
I was thinking, Victoria, about the self-care as a parent as well, because sometimes we are very focused on our children's, and sometimes we don't pay attention about us. And this is a topic that we also spoke with in another forum with the parents, how important is to exercise the self-care, because all this pandemic put us in a very like overwhelming situation, and we were at home with our children working, trying to helping our children with the online. So many things happen at the same time in the same space. And I think that as a parent, we need also a space for us. So there was like a formula that we talk about the self-care, and it's not only about how many hours that we sleep during the night. It's also the breaks that we give us during the day, breaks from the computer and the devices, because we're so into the computer and the devices that we need sometimes to break for 5 and 10 minutes, or maybe, well, now it's cold outside, but maybe see through the window, take a cup of tea, just to try to change our mindset. You know, it's like a sensorial break that we all need, not also our children. We need it as well. There's also a creative break. So it's important, and I know it's hard, but try to introduce in our routine something that we like to do, maybe listening to music or painting or writing or something creative that also allow us to relax our minds. And there is also important the social. I know that now that because of COVID, it's very hard, you know, the gatherings, but it's also important to be involved in relationship or conversation that distract us, that can feel like we can feel support, that we can feel that we are talking with people that is facing maybe similar experience, that comfort us. And also, of course, the spiritual part. It could be meditation, yoga, or religion, anything that fills us. So I think this is a message that it's very important for us as a parent to try to think about also in us, in our self-care, and what do we need.
Yeah, and to add, like, and to add to Stephanie, what she say is like, okay, yeah, don't be aware of the situation that we have, or the issues what we have is no bad or good. It's just to be aware and find some situation and some talks in the right way. Yeah. For example, let me do an example in one case that is important. If you have your child and you are worrying about what is the difficult that they have, but already you don't know, maybe you are an immigrant as well. I am, and sometimes we say, okay, how to find a job, how to talk about my situation. I wanna talk with someone to give me something to give away to the deep that I have feeling now. Find a right people to talk with them, because sometimes we listen people to us in the street, or some friends that don't give you a good advice, and you still feeling in the deep and stay there. So try to set out what is you looking for, and knock the doors that you are not alone. As an immigrant, you are not alone. As a woman, you are not alone. As you are looking for a job, you are not alone. As well, Mennonite New Life Center has different programs that you can set up, even if you don't want to talk about your problems. Has a program for a woman that you can share with them. You are looking for a job, you can say, okay, this is my background, this is my situation. I have different skills that I don't want to lose from back home. So I am tired to work in some kind of stuff that is no, I set my future like this. So no others, and we can set up different kind of stuff that make your life, I don't want to say easily in the beginning, but it's a step by step, to walk into the immigration process, into the situation, to manage emotions, to grow out yourself. So you're welcome to the center, and if you need something, just don't hesitate to ask everyone.
Thank you so much, Luisa, and thank you, Stephanie, as well, for your answer. So I will ask a last question. What is very interesting for me as a parent? So Stephanie already mentioned that we are spending our whole life in front of devices, especially since the pandemic started. So my question is does it have a negative impact on the children if they spend their whole day in front of screens? Like, we can also count in the online education, for example, which is also the case many times. But In your experience, does it have any long-term emotional damage on the kids if they are so much attached to the screens? What is your experience?
What I, under my experiences, what I see is that children, they need also like social interaction. So of course, as a parents, we were so concerned. So the amount of hours that our child or children were in the online, and then for example, some children, then they have soccer or anything online as well. And we were like counting the hours, how many hours, you know, our child was in front of the device. And I, first of all, is sometimes we as a parent, we feel guilty about that. And the situation is that life is different now, and technology is here, and that's something real, and we can't just apart our children from technology. That is true, but it is also important, under my perspective, that our children can have also interpersonal interactions. I know that is now we are just starting again to go outside and to be with more people, but I think that it's important that our children can have space to play, because when our child or children is playing, he's using his or her creativity. So it's important that space, a space to play, a space to be creative, and also even a space to be bored. Because it's very interesting, when I was back home, when I was working as a school psychologist back home, we talk a lot about this topic with the parents. And I always said to the parents, it's okay, let me to him or her to be bored. And the parents said, what, how? And it's like, because when they are bored, they will open, you know, the creativity. What I'm going to do, maybe I can write something, maybe I can play with this stuff. So it's sometimes maybe this generation is a generation, everything must done in the right moment, and everything must done now. So there is no space for frustration, and frustration is part of life, and they will face frustration now or later, and they need to experience that. So it's okay to not fill our child's days with things. It's okay that they can just, okay, I'm bored, okay, just think what you can do. You know, you have toys, you have crayons, you play something, it's okay. And also it's okay, of course, to give us child spaces for interaction too. I know it's hard, I know we are very busy, but they need it as well. They need it as well. Lisa?
Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome, Victoria. Lisa, I don't know if you would like to add something.
Yeah, okay. That you say is good. It's okay. You know, we are human. You are human. We are need contact with other ones. That is the difference for us. We need human development. That is important. But on the other hand, is our generation, or how grew up, that we playing outside, we go to the playground, it's gonna be changed. That this generation that we have now is the technology generation. That is not to say that it is the generation allowed to him to do or to stay 24/7 in a device. You know, you need to set up limits, like when you was young or when you was child and you don't play 24/7 outside. Your parents set up limits for you, set boundaries for you to say, okay, this is the time to play. This is the time to play to share with the family. If you are in the table, that is a rule, or this is a norm that we can set up, that we are changing a time. You know, okay, let's to play something without device. Depend on how you manage the situation, or how you set up some boundaries in your family, is that you say it is a trouble or it's an issue, or you can say, okay, what my child is 24/7. So I am allowed. It is if he start like headache, or lost appetite or something like this, and you say, why my child is told me I have a headache 24/7, but it's 24/7 in the device. He share with you something, you share with him something, or you just stay in the table or in the seat on the living room or even in the bed with your device like this. This is what you learning for him or for them. I don't know specifically to gender, but it's how you set up your limits and how you show him that relationship or interaction is important too. Because you can't, like, okay, you need to stay away from the device, but you are 24/7 like that, or in the computer. Set up some boundaries, even as a parent, if it's as a child, is important.
Thank you, Luisa. Yes, exactly, boundaries. We need it for ourselves and for our children. So we are nearing the end of our time together today. I would like to thank you very, very much, Stephanie and Luisa, for all your insights and information about the topic. Also, thanks, Nicole, for the help in the background and in the chat. I can see one more comment for us in the chat. The children more education from screen than the parents, because parents are so busy to manage or working them life. But yeah, exactly. So the point is that parents need to educate their kids, and not all the education should come from the screen, because that is not what we want for our children. Yeah, exactly. So thank you very much for joining us today, and I would like to ask Nicole to put the registration link for our next info session, which is going to take place December 7th, about the She-Cavalry program, which is a program specifically for women who live in Ontario, and we provide mental health support, employability skills trainings, and thank you so much for joining us. This was Ask MNLCT with Stephanie and Luisa. And we hope to welcome you to our next Ask MNLCT or info sessions.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, everyone.